Today, I'm going to be talking about the DC Sports CS1 Steel Series front strut bar for the 2011 Scion tC. I'm not actually going to show you how to install it. You can find other YouTube videos for doing that for this car. Those videos will apply to this strut bar. It's pretty universal install. What I will go over, though, are some additional installation notes for this. Afterwards, I'll give you a little review. So first off, this is one of two strut bars that they make for this car that is a single piece strut bar. And when I say that, I mean that the piece that bolts to the chassis and the bar is a single piece. There's no connecting bolt here on it. So a lot of times you see those other strut bars where it's this weak looking metal ring that goes here and then a bolt that goes here. Then they might even have like an adjustable screw here for the width. Now, those strut bars add points of flex on both sides of the bar, making it less effective when you're taking a hard corner. So if you get a strut bar, you're going to want to get a single piece like this. The problem with this one, though, is that you do have to make some modifications to make it fit properly because, as you can see, it's pretty thick. If you don't want to make any modifications, you can afford it and you can find it. You can get the TRD strut bar, but it's going to cost over twice the amount that you could pay for this one. And it's also basically the way that it fits better is it's a flat strut bar instead of this round one. I actually kind of like the rounded one better, honestly. So, okay, for the things that you have to modify to make it fit are going to be related to the engine cover if you add one, the washers that it comes with that go underneath here, and then, of course, the infamous plastic cowl fix. First off, the engine cover fix is easy. I have another video talking about modifying the posts on the underside to make it fit. But basically, as with any strut bar that you put on this car, the engine cover is going to touch the underside or come very close. On this one, it will definitely touch. You can see some scratches from where it was rubbing when the engine tilted when I was accelerating, and it was just rubbing underneath of here. So, but obviously, with the fix I did, I've got plenty of space now. All right. As for the washers, when you get the strut bar, it's going to come with these 4 M14 washers, and they're pretty thick. They normally go underneath here and underneath of here, and the reason for them is to give you clearance over this part of the chassis. Now I've replaced it, and you can see I still have plenty of clearance here. What I did was I went to Home Depot, picked up a pack of Class 10 M12 washers. Now, if I put it side by side, you can see the hole is a little bit smaller, but honestly, the bolt that's coming up out of the top there is an M10 anyway, so this will fit over top easily. But the important part is that it is about 1/3 of the height. So the reason for getting these are that if you look here, you can see this little scratch because it was hitting the underside of my hood. So putting the shorter washer on there will prevent that from happening. The last fix that you need to make is to the plastic cowl, and this is the one thing that everyone's going to suffer from. So if you look here on the side of this piece here, it comes down about 1/4 of an inch. Now it actually used to come down 1/4 of an inch all the way to the front so that it actually sat about like there. And there's also some plastic here. As you can tell, it was rubbing on the top of the strut bar here and kind of mucked up the finish. So that's a pretty high raise there, and the problem is that the hood sits here and presses it down. So the easy fix is to take an X-Acto blade and just score across the top here, and then down the side, and then around the top edge here. So this is basically a flat piece. And then I made it's got a little ramp, I guess you could call it, right there around the edge. And then bend that plastic back and forth. You might want to do it on a warm day or use a heat gun, but bend that plastic back and forth after scoring it a couple of times, and then it'll snap right off. Then you can use a file to smooth the plastic out around the edge to make it fit better. As you can see, that sits really nice on there. It actually fits perfectly. The other one is this piece here as well. So if I lift it up, you can see that I've cut it up and around, and I've done it that way so that when it sits down on top of here, it actually fits flush against the strut bar. So I don't have any problems with these clips coming out, because they just sort of sit in place once you do that modification. Great. So 3 easy fixes, and the strut bar looks great. It's nice and strong, and it's not going anywhere. So let me hop in the car here and I'll give a quick review. So I've actually had the strut bar on the TC for about a year. It was the first mod I did to this car, and back when I had an actual project car, not just a daily driver that I like to work on. It was the first thing I did on that as well. That's because it's a generally inexpensive and easy to install performance part. Now, well, at least on the previous car it was easy to install. I just had to take 6 nuts off, put the strut bar on top, and then tighten the nuts back down. The TC, unfortunately, is a little different. There's 2 brackets that you have to remove from the top of the strut towers, and in order to do that, you have to remove the washer, windshield wiper arm, and then dismantle part of the plastic cowling and some of the metal cowling underneath of there, and then remove the windshield washer motor. Now, I was able to get around not removing the windshield washer motor because I used some box wrenches, and my hands are long enough that I can get underneath in that tight space to remove the nuts and then put them back on again. So if you can do that, then the install will be a little bit easier. If you can't and you have to remove the washer motor, I would probably add another 30 minutes to your anticipated install time just to be on the safe side. That being said, the performance is pretty good. I mean, you're not going to get like a dramatic increase in your handling. I primarily got it because I want better feedback response from the tires to the steering wheel. I want it to feel more connected to the road. And that's because that makes it easier for me to keep control of the car, since it'll be easier for me to kind of feel when the tires are going to lose their grip on the road going around a turn. So it's a pretty important part to get for that. Now, if you want to actually have better suspension performance and handling, I would look at the TB Performance mid-chassis brace. I do have a review of that, so check that one out. But again, if you do get a strut bar, make sure it is a single piece. When I installed a strut bar on my project car before, I did have a 3-piece one, and it did improve my handling and the feedback response, but I ended up replacing it with a TRD one, and that was actually a single piece as well, and I actually noticed a better handling with that, and the feedback response was better with that single piece versus the multi-piece, which is why I like saying stick with a single piece. Anyway, thanks for watching my video.